Today, one of those incredible days with multiple tornadoes making their way across lower Michigan. Thankfully, we're done with severe weather, but check out Live Storm Tracker 6 Doppler radar. A few more showers and storms over Lake Michigan. These should be non-severe as they move in, but a little more thunder and lightning is possible late tonight. Let's rewind the clock again. I want to go back to this shear tracker and point out those areas of rotation. There were basically 4 distinct areas that moved across the southwestern corner of the state, and all of those were producing tornadoes. That's the basic track each one of those took. One of those coming close to Kalamazoo and the Portage area. Another one moving across northwestern Branch County, one into Hillsdale County as well. Radar showed classic supercell thunderstorms, which are basically rotating thunderstorms all the way up through the column of air, and enough rotation to drop several tornadoes. Velocity, I mean, it's easy to pick out. The reds and the greens, there goes the one that moved near Portage, and then the other one that moved through northwestern Branch County also was fairly strong as well. We're going to flip this up on its side. The 3D view, this is where the tornado was, as it was just to the southwest of Portage. We'll move a little further in time, and it's still pretty evident. You see the green sticking up right there, reds and greens right beside each other. That was just before it hit the Portage area. Still very distinct as it made its way further north and east. This is around when it was hitting Portage, and there you can see it. That's the tornado right there as it quickly began to move east, and thankfully after that started to weaken some. Katie Nicolau captured this shot from Three Rivers, southwestern corner of the state, as the storm was first coming through. Then the damage started to roll in. This is from our sister station, Wood TV, out of Portage. Notice windows blown out, shingles off, stores heavily damaged. And it wasn't just things like trees and power lines and stuff like that. I mean, entire buildings were in jeopardy of coming down. This was a shot from the inside looking out in Portage. Check out those winds, just incredible this afternoon. And this particular shot, this is from Centerville. Notice behind the barn back there, completely destroyed because of those strong winds and a potential tornado as well. This is, no question what this is. This was the tornado captured near Minden this afternoon. Fairly healthy tornado. I would not be surprised to see some of these EF ratings, probably 2 or 3. This is the shot of the FedEx building. The whole side of the building was missing. Folks were just kind of trapped inside because of some down power lines, but thankfully everyone okay there. Stephanie McCoy, your brother, sent this shot. Now at first this looks like a very small tornado, but let this play out. As we zoom back around, you'll see how quickly it went from kind of a small rope-like tornado to a fairly large tornado as it began to gather strength and all that inflow wind blowing into that storm. Absolutely.
Welcome back. If you've perhaps thought that the climate here in Michigan seems to be getting warmer, you might actually be right.
Chief Meteorologist David Young joins us now with a deep dive into the numbers, and he has some interesting results, not just with our temperatures, but with rain and snow as well.
Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Michigan is a 4-season state, but the climate in Michigan, it is beginning to change. And we're talking climate today. We're not talking just weather, and it's important we understand the difference between those two terms. Weather, that's something like today's high, today's low. How much rain did we see? When you're talking about climate, now you're talking about long-term averages. So say May 1st, what was the high temperature? Last May 1st, what was the high temperature? And you compare that for 30 previous years, and that's where you come up with the normal high or the normal precipitation. This is a long-term average over a 30-year period. That's what we're talking about today, is long-term averages. And in fact, we're going to look at the averages over the past 100 years. We'll start first with our maximum temperature, our high temperatures. How have those changed? Notice you see a steady incline there from around 56 degrees to around 58 degrees as we come up towards our current year. So the past 100 years, we have certainly seen some warming. Our low temperatures are a little different. When you look at that, notice in the 70s and 80s into the 90s and early 2000s, our low temperatures were actually cooling a bit, our average lows, but now they're back up. We're at around 38.9 degrees, so that's up a couple degrees from the mid-1920s. We'll look at another variable when you combine the highs and lows, just what was the average temperature? And the average temperature kind of reflects more of the high temperature trend, which is a steady increase from around 46.8 back in 1924. That was the 30-year average, and now the 30-year average is around 48.5, so it has risen substantially. But you do see a bit of a cooling trend in the late 90s and early 2000s. Rainfall and snowfall combined is what we talk about when we look at our general precipitation trends, and that has gone up substantially. Since the mid-1920s, we're around 31.2 inches, and as of this past year, we were at 33.4 inches of average precipitation, so we're seeing a couple more inches of rain and snow per year. But this is the one I get the biggest questions about. Folks tell me, well, if I just feel like it doesn't snow as much as it used to when I was a kid. For some of you, that is actually true. Check out our average snowfall. Now, in the mid-1920s, 47.4 was the average snow, but notice in the late 90s and early 2000s, our average snowfall was around 55.7 inches, so it was quite a bit higher. But as temperatures have continued to warm, precipitation has gone up. Our snowfall is now beginning to decrease, and now we're at 47.8 inches of snow on that 30-year average. Now, no doubt over the coming years, our climate will continue to change, but what we expect is temperatures to generally continue to increase. As temperatures increase, that means probably less snow each winter on average, although our precipitation totals may continue to go up.
Who's keeping a very close eye on the weather for us tonight, David?
Everything on track. We've got snowfall that'll be moving in late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Winter weather advisory in effect for Eaton and Ingham counties northward through Clinton County and to the north into central sections of lower Michigan. So we check out the satellite and radar. There's the snowfall now breaking out to our west and moving in our direction. So from now through the morning commute, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., we expect snow to overspread the area, and then we'll have bands of snow in the area as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures already well below freezing, so no shock that whatever we see tonight and tomorrow morning will cause some problems on area roadways, so we're really going to have to watch out. Roadcast for tomorrow. Now, obviously today was fine. As we head into tomorrow morning, roads will be slippery, very icy out. Then it will become slushy as we head through the day, but we're giving it a red all day tomorrow. Things will begin to improve as we head into Saturday morning as the system is pushing away from the region. Much better on Sunday. More on accumulations coming up in just a couple minutes.
Simple human sense.
Well, this is the Ingham County Fair, of course, but we've stepped away from the midway and down towards some of the equestrian events taking place because you think, Ingham County Fair, you think 4-H, and 4-H it's a youth development organization. It does a lot more than just the animals you see out here, but the animals are a fun part. I've got a special guest. Let's bring in our guest. So, sir, here you're competing out here in the equestrian events. Your name? I See Divas Heaven. We'll call you Heaven. How about that? So I understand you got a blue ribbon yesterday in equitation, he says. Very nice. Now, who is your rider back there? She looks really, I've got it. That's Elizabeth Young. So we brought our own horse in. Heaven, good luck tonight and tomorrow in your competitions, okay? We got to dodge some showers and storms, but come out and see the horses and all the animals out here at the fair. It is always a spectacular time, and sometimes you get to interview your own horse on live television. Now let's talk weather, because there are some showers beginning to move into the area, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on those this evening as the threat for some strong
as the moon blocks the sun for a short time. Our chief meteorologist David Young is here for you tonight with some viewing tips, including how to do it safely.
Talk around town is the upcoming big solar eclipse happening next Monday, and that is the subject of today's Weather Wednesday. And this is going to be a solar eclipse, not a lunar eclipse. And of course, that makes a big difference as far as what we're going to see. So what's going to happen in the sky? The moon is going to pass between the Earth and the sun and cast a shadow over a good chunk of the country. We're going to be in what's called the penumbra, which means we will see a partial eclipse here in mid-Michigan. Meanwhile, across Ohio and points southwestward, they're going to be in the umbra, which means they will see a total eclipse. Big difference in terms of how it looks, but it'll still be really cool to check out here in mid-Michigan. Then, of course, as the moon continues to move, the shadow continues to move, so we've only got a couple-hour window where it'll be visible to us here in mid-Michigan. So when do things kick off? We're thinking around 1:56 in the afternoon. That's when the partial eclipse should begin. We'll reach our maximum coverage of the moon in front of the sun at 96%. That will occur at 3:12 in the afternoon. Then the entire thing begins to come to an end by 4:25. So you can see just a few hours in the afternoon that you'll be able to check out this solar eclipse. Here is the path of the totality. Pretty interesting. It moves from the southwestern U.S. across Texas and then to the north and east and across northwestern sections of Ohio, clips the southeastern corner of Michigan. We'll be at about 96% though in terms of the moon passing in front of the sun for us. Cloud cover is going to be the really million-dollar question because typically on April the 8th we average around 70% cloud cover, so that's not great.